Okay, let's go into the business of the day. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's program. We are live from our Abuja studio here at the Federal Capital Territory. Are you aware that Nigeria is richly blessed with natural resources from solid minerals to oil deposits? But illegal mining activities are robbing the nation of billions in potential revenue while leaving communities devastated. From gold and columbine to lead and zinc, illegal mining has become a major source of economic leakage. Today, we will be exploring the far-reaching impact of these activities and the urgent need for sustainable solutions. The federal government estimates that illegal mining costs the nation billions of naira annually in lost revenue. But beyond the numbers are the social and environmental consequences.
These mining activities have destroyed farmlands, polluted water sources across communities, contributing to insecurity, with criminal groups profiting from the trade. In some cases, the minerals are smuggled out of the country, further depriving Nigeria of its resources. The government has taken some steps, including forming task forces to crack down on illegal mining operations and revising mining policies. However, enforcement remains a challenge due to limited manpower and corruption. As Nigeria seeks to diversify its economy, protecting the nation's natural resources from exploitation is more critical than ever. And to discuss the potential solutions to the problem, let's turn to our guest in the studio, Segun Tomori, who is the Special Assistant on Media to the Minister of Solid Mineral Development. It's good to have you in our studio this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Now, let's jump straight into it. The federal government is making strategic investment in the solid mineral sector because of its potential, to boost the nation's GDP. But how well has the minister managed the resistance from artisanal miners against regulation that will require them to join cooperatives? Have there been any positive response so far?
Thank you very much. I think there's been far-reaching positive response over the past 18 months since the minister assumed office. For instance, you mentioned artisanal miners and the plan of the minister at the inception of his tenure that they should join cooperatives. As we speak today, we have over 250 of those cooperatives. So there's been positive, we've had cooperation of the artisanal miners in that regard. So aside from the artisanal miners, we also have the illegal mining, the larger illegal mining. So what we are doing is we are using persuasive. Persuasive is the cooperatives, then also the enforcement, what we call the carrot and stick approach. So for those that do not, heed to the demand or the policy of the ministry, we have the mining marshals that was established last year. I don't know if you've heard about it. So they are the one enforcing mining laws. They are doing operations across the country. As we speak, we have 2,570 mining marshals deployed across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. So yes, we are seeing a positive impact of the minister's reforms and policies. Aside from that, we'll see that before the advent of the Tinubu administration, mining was relegated to the background. We see more focus on oil and gas, and mining was relegated for decades. And the first thing the president did was to separate mines and steel to create a separate ministry for called Ministry of Solid Minerals Development. That was a pointer to the fact that this president is keen on diversifying the economy with solid minerals as a focus. And that's why he sent his trusted ally in the person of Dr. Dele Alake to head that ministry. And the work of the minister so far, in marketing the sector has brought renewed enthusiasm, renewed interest of Nigerians, not only locally, but globally to the sector. So we are making progress.
But the artisanal miners have also expressed concerns that this regulations will give bigger mining corporations, companies, an unfair advantage over them. How is the ministry going to ensure balance in this regard?
Well, we are catering to both artisanal miners and big players, because no matter what you say, if you want to develop the mining sector in Nigeria, you need the big players, and we are not even there yet, because maybe we have what we call medium players or mid players, but you don't have the big league players, like Glencore, and others in the global sector. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to put in place enabling environment, efficient governance structure to ensure that we can attract such big players. Just last year, Glencore visited Nigeria and visited the minister, and a whole lot of global players are already showing interest, in Nigeria. And what are we doing? And that's why the minister is saying that we must scale up exploration. The paltry budget for exploration is simply unconscionable, if we want solid minerals to contribute effectively, as in substantially, to Nigeria's gross domestic product. So he's ramping up efforts to get funding. The funding is not coming through the envelope system of budgeting, but he is looking at innovative means to get funding. Because presently, as we speak, the minister is always saying at diverse fora that only 5% of the landmass of Nigeria has been explored. We've done exploration for 5% of the landmass of Nigeria, and from that 5%, we have discovered 44 critical minerals in Nigeria. How much more if we do 60%, 50%, or 70%? So the potential is simply immense and immeasurable. Okay.
Now, considering the huge potential, and if we take into cognizance what transpired at the 2025 budgetary screening, what other areas would you expect that government will get, government will put more interest so that we can harness the entire potential in this sector? What are those specific things you would like to see put in place?
I would like to see?
Yeah, the government, okay. Your ministry.
Okay, basically, like I said, we're wrapping up funding, and there's also the plan, to establish the Nigeria Solid Minerals Corporation. I think it's been in existence before, but not in the structure that we are planning it. It's going to be largely private sector driven. The proposed equity, for instance, there will be 25% for Nigerians. There will be, I think, 25% for federal government, and I know that the details are being worked out, but I know that the minister has assured Nigerians that in the coming weeks it will be launched. The president has approved the composition of the board, of the corporation, and we'll see something that will drive, that will further strengthen what we are doing, drive the reforms, and get equity partnership, not only from Nigerians, but also from the private sector. But it will be largely private sector driven, and it will follow the pattern of the LNG. The minister has said that at diverse fora. So it is being worked out, and in the coming weeks, expect an announcement. That is on, Nigeria Solid Minerals Corporation. There's also the plans, going forward to infuse satellite monitoring of mining sites to aid the work of the mining marshals. Because you agree with me that Nigeria has a vast landmass of mining areas that cannot be covered by the boots on the ground we have. And aside from that, we have the boots on the ground we have. The mining marshals was conceptualized to be a multi-agency security outfit, specially trained. The present one we have now, we're utilizing, we're brought from the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, which is the NSCDC. So we plan to have infusion of the police, the army, and other, to strengthen the operation. So, what the mining marshals as we have now is just the first layer. I don't know if you recall last year, I think early last year, the president established an interministerial committee to secure natural resources, not only solid minerals, but forest and fauna, marine economy, and all that. So, they were meeting with my minister was the chairman of that committee. They were meeting with security chiefs and all that, but we just had to get something started because the process for that would take long. Mm-hmm. So that's why, he initiated and, the mining marshals that we can pull out the core, because NSCDC, the part of their core mandate is also protection of, infrastructure, mineral resources and all that. So that's why we're able to pull them out and achieve what we achieved. So a lot is being planned. There's also the plan, I must state that, there's also the plan to have an infrastructure corridor, for infrastructure. Most private investors, their concern is they need a lot of infrastructure to transport the solid minerals, from maybe the villages, the communities, to where they can be processed and all that. So that plan is ongoing. The ministry is collaborating with other ministries, to get that done. And in 2025, you also see announcement in that regard.
Funding of the Ministry of Solid Minerals. There is this serious issue of underfunding in the Ministry of Solid Minerals, and I understand that the National Assembly has also summoned the Minister of Finance and also the Minister of Budget and National Planning. You spoke earlier about the minister considering other ways of funding the ministry. What are these ways?
Simply PPP, public-private partnerships.
Okay.
And we've seen a lot of interest and enthusiasm from, the global community, global mining community in that regard. So, is what would once it happens, he would announce that. So let's wait for that. And I know that the National Assembly, you mentioned the National Assembly. The National Assembly Committee, I think on Friday or Thursday, recommended. I saw that they recommended 539 billion as the capital budget for 2025 from 9 billion that was initially budgeted for. That's their recommendation based on their concern for the mining sector, concern for the development of that sector, and that, for it to contribute substantially, to Nigeria's GDP, we must invest in it. So that's their recommendation. So we wait to see how that pans out.
Okay, there's a trending video of a distinguished senator where he alleged that retired military officers play a significant role in the leakages in the solid mineral sector. You aware? Is the ministry aware of that video?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your thought about that?
The Senator Shomole.
Exactly.
What he's saying is not absolutely new. The minister has said in diverse fora that powerful Nigerians are behind illegal mining. The kind of banditry that happens in Zamfara, for instance, or in the northwest, or part of the northeast, cannot happen. That is linked to mining. Will not happen if it's not backed by powerful people. So he's not saying, he's simply rehashing what the minister has been saying. So that being said, we can see how with single-minded purpose, the president, since inception has been tackling banditry. Just last week, a renowned bandit leader, Bello Torji, lost his brother, lost the second in command, and is on the run as we speak. And just in December last year, before Christmas, we announced a lifting of the ban on exploration activities, mining activities in Zamfara State. Why did we do that? It's because of the improved security situation in that state and the feelers we get from the National Security Council. So a lot is being done. Daily, bandits are being decimated. Today, Boko Haram, as we know it before, is fast phasing out from our consciousness because of the effort of this administration, the coordination, the synergy that we've not seen in security forces, led by the NSA, is doing a fantastic job. So we are taking the battle frontally to banditry, tackling those issues that Senator Oshomole mentioned, and distant future, full-scale activities, legal mining activities will commence in Zamfara and other parts of the north that they were put in our hands because of security concerns.
Just for the benefit of people that have not seen that video, we have a clip. Let's see what it has to say.
You give them arms, they use choppers to come and cut away the gold. Those involved in this illegal mining, they use choppers. They procure arms exactly the same way as our military were doing in the South. They give them arms, they use choppers to come and cut away the gold, and they take them out of this country and make billions of US dollars. And the federal government is not doing what it should be doing. I took this letter to the former president when I was national chairman of APC. And I said, call the general to give you more brief. In fact, what is happening or what subsequently happened in that part of the country was exactly what the general told me was going to happen. Because these guys have been weaponized by the illegal big men who deploy them, secure territories, and the weapon is meant to protect the Chinese and other foreigners who they actually employ to carry out the mining.
Oh, quite an unfortunate situation there, but How transparent and efficient would you say the process of issuing licenses for minefields is? This has also raised concerns about maybe favoritism or special interest. How is the ministry, ensuring that this is not the case?
Well, the issuance of mining license is within the purview of the Mining Cadastral Office. And as we speak now, we have a digitized process for application of mining license. Okay. Through the Nigeria Mining Cadastral.gov.ng, you can start your application for mining license. So it's either, a walk-in or, digital. So from the comfort of your home or anywhere in the world, you can start your mining license application. So I think we've digitized that, and it's called EMC Plus. So we've made a lot of progress, and we've seen a deluge of mining applications since the advent of this administration. And so I think it's been simplified, it's been digitized, and and the time frame for application and when it is approved or not approved, has been shortened. Okay. So we've made progress in that regard. Okay,
I'd like us to still speak to the allegations made by Tomori. Now, he said government, and your ministry is government. What else would you want to see? Because so that Nigerians will not say the ministry is willing, the ministry should not will. Ministry is the government. So what definite actions are you putting in place, or you have put in place to deal with this? Because somebody has identified where the leakages are from.
I listened to Senator Oshomole. Oshomole did not say this administration. He said the past administration. Listen to him clearly. He said government, so I'm not particular about this. No. He said he reached out to the former president, former this. He didn't say, so he cannot discountenance what President Bola Tinubu is doing. I didn't think he said anything. He was talking about decades-long neglect of that sector, decades-long problem of insecurity, decades-long, use of banditry to stifle the development of that sector. So he was talking generally. So I'm sure he didn't talk about this present administration, and I've ruled out what we are doing. What I would like to see, I'm part of government. You should ask me what you like to see. I've told you what we're doing. There's the mining marshals. There's a clearance operation ongoing by the military. Because before we even deploy like the mining marshals in places like Zamfara and places that are bedeviled by banditry, you need to clear. There has to be a clearance operation for a lesser force like mining marshals to be able to move in, because they are dealing. The military will be dealing with those that have sophisticated weapons. So that's what is happening. And it's happening silently. Sokoto, Zamfara, everywhere. I'm sure you read the news, you see it. So what we want to see, we're already seeing it. So Nigerians should just, watch out in 2025 to see that we are restoring, enabling environment for mining across Nigeria. We are securing mining areas. We are deploying satellite monitoring for mining sites. And we are scaling up mining's contribution to our revenue, and it's already been scaled up. Our revenue projection for 2024 was 11 billion. We generated 38 billion. The minister said that at the National Assembly budget defense session. So we are making progress.
Well, the Senate is making effort to address the over $9 billion loss that Nigeria has to lose to this illegal mining, and they have done this through a bill that seeks to establish the Nigeria Mines Rangers Service. You also spoke about the mine marshals. I believe that's the creation of the special task force on the mines rangers by the ministry. I believe so. How efficient has this been, and how have they been able to, also ramp up the revenue that should accrue to this sector?
Well, I know there are some bills in the National Assembly, but what I know is that there's a collaboration between the ministry and the National Assembly led by the House Committee on Solid Minerals to amend the Nigeria Minerals and Mining Act 2007 that will give verve to the reforms, of the present administration and our various efforts, over the past 18 months. So I'm not quite aware of that ranges, but what I know is that we are working collaboratively with the National Assembly to amend the Act and any other thing to strengthen the operations of either mining marshals or security outfit. The mining marshals have achieved tremendous results since, I think, 9 months since their establishment. I know that they've arrested over 300, suspected illegal miners. Close to 200 are being prosecuted, including foreign nationals. And, we've even secured some convictions. So I was talking to the commander, was it yesterday, and he was on his way to a border community between Kogi and Kwara State on an operation on a Sunday. So we are strengthening efforts, to ensure that we secure the mining areas and ramp up revenue for the sector.
We've also seen strategic partnerships with your minister and the diplomatic community in this regard, requiring revenue generation and, some other strategic partnerships. Can you tell us about that?
In terms of strategic partnerships, the minister's focus. Okay, before the advent of this administration, you recall that what we had, the practice we had was what we call mine to pit. Pit to mine, or mine to pit, like cutting away of our resources, without processing. So the minister, as part of his 7-point agenda, introduced value addition and said, never again would we have just whole-scale cutting away of our mineral resources without some form of processing, without some form of refining, so to speak. So, because of that value addition that he championed on the global scale, he was made the chairman, the pioneer chairman of the Africa Mineral Strategy Group. And as we speak now, they include 16 mining nations on the African continent and still expanding. So, and they have also signed up for that value addition, which has become the sing-song in that continent, that never again would we allow people to come to our country and cut away without developing, because we need that developing of that mining, the minerals for employment, to cater to our people in the communities and all that. So that has given him that global, boost, and a lot of people are partnering, in the global community with him, on diverse areas in the mining sector.
Okay, I'd just like you to also speak more on what is in it for the host communities, so that we don't have the nation makes so much money like from oil, and the host community is there complaining. So as we're making the money from solid minerals, what is in it for the various host communities?
Well, host communities, when part of what the minister did when he assumed office, like a few months after he assumed office, was to revise what we call the community development agreements. So today we have a revised community development agreement that mandates you what you have to do to, to develop the host communities as a miner, as an operator. Then another thing is, before your application is even approved, as part of your application process, you need to seek the consent of host communities. So that's part of the innovations we put in place to ensure that we cater to the needs of host communities, and they are not deprived of their dues by miners and operators. So, and aside from that, there's also the policy that traditional rulers in council are incorporated into the host communities to ensure that they protect the interests of their community, and we are seeing a positive response in that regard, and very high compliance.
Well, it has been a very interesting conversation with you. Thank you so much, Segun, for your time with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
That's why we'll have to leave our conversation here this morning. Thank you so much. Mr. Shomomo, what do you think about this situation? Do you think that the solid mineral sector is doing, a ministry is doing a lot more in, ensuring that the nation deprives what it's supposed to get from this ministry?
Exactly.
With the explanation of the special assistant this morning.
Exactly. And what tickles me the most is what they're doing for the various host communities, because never should we go through that part again where the nation makes so much and the communities are left devastated. So they're putting something substantial about the host communities, and I hope it will work well.
And Nigerians begin to reap the benefits of their natural resources. So that's our package for you here in Abuja. It's back to you in the studio in Lagos, Veronica.
Thank you, TJSU. Thank you, Eshomomo, for that conversation. And I hope that they follow through with regards to what the package they have for host communities who have been reeling from the effect of those who are exploiting us of our resources as it is. Thank you once again.